Good morning. Welcome to episode 126, long overdue, of the We Are Yarn podcast. I'm so glad to have you today.
I'm going down to the drugstore, buy a big old skein of yarn. I'm gonna knit me a kitten, even if you don't give a darn.
Good morning. Welcome to my craft room. My name's Amanda, Mandy Cat on Ravelry, and I'm so glad that you're joining me today in my craft room for another episode of We Are Yarn. This is a long overdue podcast. Since you saw me last, I only have one heartbeat in my body now. I'm only housing one soul. I'll talk about my birth story at the end of the podcast for those of you who don't want to hear about it, but I'm sure quite a few of you do. I have a little boy now who will be 6 weeks tomorrow. Time really does fly by. He's sitting right here in the floor in his little bouncy chair. He is in such a good mood. I don't know if it's because I'm sitting here talking and he just likes to listen to me talk or what. I don't know. But bouncy chair. So if you hear a little bit of background noise, that's the little vibrator function of the bouncy chair. I also want to say I am wearing my orange shawl today. It is in honor of my dear friend Wendy, Silly Fruju of the Sassy Pants Knitter podcast, who today is celebrating her 1-year anniversary of being given a remission diagnosis from hairy cell leukemia. So, yay! Orange is the awareness color for leukemia. So I'll wear this in her honor today. So I have, I was busy making a baby and then keeping said baby alive. I have been doing quite a bit of knitting, but not as much as I may have had I not had a small child. So let's get into it. I have quite a bit, really, and because it's been so long, I do have quite a bit to show you. I did finish a project. I have some cat on lap now as well. Here's Pippin. Just because he's a middle child now doesn't make him any less loved. I have not blocked this or woven my ends in or anything, but this is my Piper's Journey. If you've been watching for a while, you will know that I cast this on right after I got pregnant. I lost all my knitting mojo. And in an effort to kickstart that mojo, I cast this on. This is, like I said, Piper's Journey by Paula Emmons Feasley. This is in, let's see. Now I'm having a hard time doing things because I feel very trapped here. This is by Long Hollow Surrey Alpacas. This is a Tennessee product. Tennessee raised alpacas, Tennessee milled. So this is Razzle Dazzle, I think is the colorway. Anyway, Razzle Dazzle 4. But so this is just, like you can see, a real natural alpaca. Pippin, quit. So I started this back in, what was it, February, March, somewhere in there. And I followed the directions wrong and had to rip it all out. I finally cast it back on again. Did it correctly this time. And finished it while I've been out on maternity leave. I increased up to about 300 stitches on my needles. I felt like I probably could have gone further. I'm glad I didn't though, because I did get really closer to running out of yarn than I expected after the border. So I had bought 3 skeins of this lovely yarn, and I used probably 80% of the third one doing the border. So I'm glad I quit when I did. So about 300 stitches. It is the perfect size. And yeah, can you see the definition there? The lace is, I don't even know if you'll ever really get good definition on of the lace because of the kind of rustic nature of this yarn, really. And unfortunately, I don't think you can even see the sparkle in it in this light. But it was a lovely pattern, really easy to work on. You know, the garter stitch section is just increases on the ends, and then the lace was not a difficult lace to knit. I memorized it pretty quickly, and so it was really good to be able to. The border was good because he was very new when I was on the border, so I was able to just, because the rows are so short, you don't feel like you have to get to the end of the row real quick, because the end of the row is just a couple of stitches away if you need to get to your newborn. So yes. So again, Piper's Journey, Paul Emmons Feasley. I knit that with a US 6 4.0 millimeter needle out of that alpaca. It's 100% alpaca with that sparkle added in. Now all I need to do is give it a bath. I need to block it. But like I said, I don't know if blocking will really do any good. We're sitting in a new location in my craft room, by the way. Part of all the fun we've had, we've needed to get new couches for our living room for a long time. We bought the couch set that we had when we had a much smaller home, and our couches were comically small for the space they were in. So since when I took a few days off before my birth, my delivery, so my husband and I were able to go purchase new couches. The big couch, the long couch, has gone to another home, but I kept the love seat to come back here, and I'm really pleased with it. I'm so glad I did. It's so much more comfortable than the futon that was back here. So I have 3 works in progress. Bless you. I have 3 works in progress. The first I'm going to show you, not a lot of progress. I cast these on to take to the hospital for my hospital knitting. Last time you saw them, I had made it up to the toe, which is there. Or made it past the toe. This is Knit Picks Felici, and this is the Fizz colorway. And you see, I did not make it terribly far. I did work on them while I was in labor. Because of the power of epidurals, I was able to do that. And then the next day, I worked on them a little bit, but I had so many people coming and going that I didn't pull them out. They had put my IV in my right hand as well, and I wasn't able to manipulate my needles the way very comfortably with the IV in. And then the next day it was kind of sore from the IV, so I didn't do a lot of knitting that day, but I did do some. So I cast on a toe. I think I did Judy's Magic cast on and maybe 24 total stitches, and then just increased on the end of the needle, each needle, every other row until it fit over my pinky toe. Kind of snugly, and started knitting just in the round. And at the edge of when there's a color change, I am doing is it vanilla latte with a little slip stitch pattern, so it makes the makes it a little more interesting. These stripes though are really wide, so the potato chips do not come often enough in this potato chip knitting, which is why I haven't done a lot of work on them. And this is the colorway. You can see it's going to have some purples coming in eventually. I hope soon, because that was my favorite part and I haven't gotten to the purple yet. Maybe if I'd get to the purple, I'd be more interested. So that's what little work got done on that. I got inspired by one of my knitting friends at my local knitting group, and she's made one of these before, and by all the lovely sweaters I'm seeing people knit on the podcast that I've been watching and cast on for a sweater. I decided that the reason I wasn't finishing the sweaters that I have on the needles, one of them is a hand spun. It's out of DK. Wait, that may be the only sweater. I think that's it. But it's really heavily patterned across the front, so I really have to pay really close attention. And it's out of DK weight. And my hand spun isn't nearly as soft as I would like it to be. So, it's just not, for some reason, an enjoyable knit for me. So I got inspired and I cast on the Zoe Cardi. Come on. By C2 Knits, Sherry Christian. And here is a picture of that. So it's just an open front cardigan with some short sleeves, worsted weight. I'm using Malabrigo Rios in the Purpura colorway. I bought this at on the East Tennessee Yarn Crawl last summer, so 2014. So it's been marinating for quite a while, and I made it quite a good ways. It does have a cable in it, but there's a cable on the sleeve, and then on the sleeves, and then down the front. And so there's you only really have to focus there on the front end and back end once you get to the body. So I have completed my raglan increases. It's a top down all in one piece. So there we go, and you can see that beautiful, I love the Rios, has such beautiful definition. I'm really enjoying working with it. Bless you. I've learned that newborns are obligate nose breathers, meaning they don't breathe through their mouth, so they sneeze quite a bit because they get stuff up in their nose. So please excuse that. But I am already trying to teach him manners. I'd say bless you every time he sneezes in hopes that he'll learn to do that. So, I'm alternating two skeins, since it is a hand dyed, kettle dyed, I believe is how they do it, maybe, I think. I am alternating just so it's a little, I don't get a really strong color change. I am, though, I worked on it for a while, and now that I have a cat in my lap, I don't know if I'll be able to lean close enough for you to see this. When I first started up here, do you see that beautiful, how nice it looks right there, where I'm alternating skeins? It made a really nice line. I put it down for a week and forgot how I was doing it, and lost my line. So now I'm trying to remember again. I'm playing around with it. I think I was alternating when I was on the purl side, and then when I picked it back up, I started alternating when I was on the right side, and it just doesn't look as good. And now that I've gone back to alternating on the purl side last night, it's starting to look better again. So I will be placing a stitch marker in there so that we can measure my progress the next time I record, if it's not already done. I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, I've already said that. I'm enjoying it. I have a couple of button options that I bought when I did not have the yarn with me. And while they're beautiful options, I don't know which I'm going to use. And I don't know if I'm going to use them at all. Also, though, I'm learning every time I do a pattern that has cables, I'm reminded that I love the look of cables. Cables are beautiful. However, I'm not a big fan of knitting them. Because I can read my knitting very well, but I don't think I've knit enough cables to be able to read exactly where that cross took place and count my rows from there. Bless you. So I haven't been back here much, so I haven't cleaned much, so it's a little dusty. I think that's why I sneezes so much. But and so I think I put this down for that little bit I did because I was having to keep up with what row I was on. just to know when to do the cable cross. So I had the pleasure of going to SAFF last week, the Southeast Animal Fiber Fair in Asheville, North Carolina. And I bought one of these little guys. Yay! So this is a row counter that there, you know, it's November and there are still mosquitoes flying around. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so that I don't have to, I have it memorized. I have the pattern memorized. I was just having to keep up with what row I was on the paper because of the cable. So I have bought this little guy now. I'm a picker. So I put this on my right hand, on my index finger, and I knit. And when I get to the end of the row, all I have to do is push that little button and it tells me what row I'm on. It's so clever. So I'm back to really enjoying this now, and I think I'm gonna zoom right through it. I have developed a little bit of tendinitis in my left arm. I think because I like to hold my baby in my left arm. And I think that new way of holding plus really hitting my knitting hard again. Yeah, tendinitis. So as my tendinitis allows me, I've been working on this really hard. Since I was working on it in October, I put it in my zombie cupcake project bag. But it's starting to grow out of that. I'm going to have to find a bigger bag, which may be hard. I don't have many bigger bags than this. So that. I also cast on, because I was going to be riding in the back of a vehicle to SAFF, and I actually honestly did not even think about my socks. And I had finished the Piper's Journey. I wanted a new kind of easygoing pattern on the needles, and I've started trying to get back into watching my podcasts again. I've been watching a lot of Netflix and not so many podcasts. But I was inspired by Mrs. Shu on the Innocent Knit podcast. She recently completed a Wild Goose by Paula Emmons Fizzy. And I didn't realize I had just cast one off of hers and I was just starting a new one. It starts out very similar to the Piper's Journey though. So this is the Wild Goose. Oh, my sweater. I always forget one thing there in the middle and remember it. I'm knitting the 40 to 43 inch size. I used to knit the next size down, but now my body has changed a little bit. I have not quite shed all of my pregnancy pounds, so I'm just making the next size up. I think it'll still look fine if I do manage to lose this last weight. I'm knitting that sweater on a US 7 4.5 millimeter needle. I will be honest, I did not gauge swatch, so it'll be fun. Bless you. Alright, so my Wild Goose out of my Fruju. See, we're talking about my friend Wendy all over the place today. So this is how it knits up. I'm sure you guys know this is by Highland Handmaids, with the black with the crazy fun neon rainbow colors in there. I'm really enjoying it. I have a little dangly bit here that I'm going to go ahead and throw on here so we can see how far I get by the next time I talk to you guys. But there it is. So that's how it looks in the garter stitch. Talk about potato chips. I'm really enjoying watching the colors go by as I knit this. So I'm knitting this on US 6. Everything you have seen here today, except for my socks, are being knit on Knitter's Pride Cubics. I love them. They are my favorite needle by far. I'm not being paid to say that. They have not sent me any goodies either. I love them. So there we go. The one thing that I am doing on this that was not written in the pattern because of my experience with the Piper's Journey, I am, after the first stitch, I do a yarn over, do my increase, and go to the end. Oh, okay. The pattern has you increasing on both ends and then knitting back. Instead of doing that, I increase on the front end. So I start knitting, I do my increases for that end, I knit straight to the end, and when I turn it, I do the same thing. I'm still increasing the same number of stitches per 2 rows. It's just I only have 1 row to remember. I don't have to keep up if did I do my increases on that last row. It's all the same. So that's the one change that I've made. The second change is after I do my first stitch, I do a yarn over and then do my increases. And when I get to that yarn over, I drop it. That way I'm giving a little bit more yarn there on the edges so I can get a good, nice, stretchy edge for when I go to block this out, which I promise will happen when I'm done with it. So, but there that is. I've been holding on to this yarn kind of as a precious because I wasn't real sure what I was going to do. I didn't know if I wanted to make socks out of them. I couldn't decide. And when I saw Miss Shoes didn't make it out of this yarn, but it was a very similar yarn with really, black with really bright rainbow colors in there. And I thought it was lovely. And she discussed how I didn't realize, because I had not paid real close attention to the pattern, it is garter stitch lace at the end. And hers was beautiful, and it inspired me. So thanks, Miss Shoe. Some more cotton. So I did some spinning too. Let's talk about some spinning. When my tendonitis really flared up in my left hand, I thought that it may be nice to get my wheel out and spin something that I could spin long draw, because I can do that with just using my right hand. A little bit of help with my left hand, but real minimal. So I pulled out some fiber that has been marinating in my stash for ages and ages and ages and ages. While I'm talking, I'm going to be pulling this up so you can see the pattern that I want to make out of it. It's a Shetland that I bought, like I said, 2009? No, I didn't start spinning until 2010. 2011, so 4 years. And I bought this when I was executing we had been challenged to use only natural fibers to make one of the sheep heat hats, hand spin it, and then knit it. So I bought this when I was looking for the best natural colors of fiber. So this is Shetland. I had a gray and a dark brown, which you might as well call black, but I don't think there is actually a true black in Shetland. So there they are. I spun 2 ounces a day. No. It's 2 ounces a day for 2 days. Another day I managed all 4 ounces of the other color, and then I plot them all the next day. So this is a 4-day spin. I have no idea how much yardage I need. I have envisioned that I will knit this out of it. This is the Bolt by Vera Valimaki. It is a Wool People Volume 5 pattern using Brooklyn Tweed Loft, which is a fingering. So while I was spinning, I was aiming for a fingering. I think I may have managed that in some places. Let me tell you, before I plot it, or before I soaked it, I was like, yeah, I did it. I mean, it may be a little sportish in places, but then it just fluffed up to nobody's business. It's just crazy. So this is probably more sport DK. I don't know how much yardage I got. I think it said 350. 305. I need 305 yards of each color. expectant that I should have gotten that. That's not the word I'm looking for. But I'm guarded on it. When I ball it up, I haven't counted my yardage since I washed it. When I ball it up, I'll use my little yardage counter and see where I am. I think I got it though. Ooh. Let me tend to my baby real quick. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to hoping that I have enough yardage to cast on that bolt. I'm beginning to develop one of my over-inspired moments, guys. I bought a new shirt yesterday. We wanted to get out of the house. Mama's getting cabin fever in a big way. So we went to the mall and I bought a shirt that's so pretty that would look gorgeous with a red shawl. And I don't have a red shawl, but I have some gorgeous red yarn that I would love to make into a shawl that would look perfect with it. I want to make my bolt. I'm getting over-inspired. Over-inspired. Something else that has over-inspired me was SAFF. I surprisingly barely spent half of my budget. Unheard of. And that includes a coffee. And yeah, I don't know how I did it. So, no less than half of my budget really. The first thing that I got my little row counter. That was the very first thing I purchased. That popped my cherry for SAFF 2015. I visited all of the booths. But the first one I visited was Jazzturtle Creations. I know, baby. Jazzturtle Creations. So, hand-spun art yarn, art bats, and wearable textile art. Ooh, something's going on over here. Let me take care of my baby. I'll be right back. Okay, I thought that was going to be all involved, and then he took the passy first go. You never know. So, Esther Rogers of Jazzturtle Creations. She had mainly, like, wearable textile art. She had her wearable items. She had some bats, but then she had a lot of tools as well. But I saw this from outside in the aisle, and it drew me in, and it's just so pretty. So I got a bat from her. There were some that were more art bats that she called wild bats. This one didn't look like it had quite as much nubbly stuff. She had some that had the recycled sari silk kind of stuff in it, that sort of thing. This one, it has some, I looked, alpaca locks in it, and some top. It has both. Angelina Sparkle, BFL, Cormo, Firestar, Merino Fleece, Silk, and Teeswater locks. So it has a couple of kinds of locks in it, but I only saw a couple in there. I'm not a big art bat fan, but after I'm running kind of low on things that I can long draw, and while I still have this tendonitis, I want to focus on that. So I got this so that I could do that. Isn't that pretty? The blues and greens, and it has some kind of burgundy there, and it just purples. It's just, oh, it's so pretty. So I'm looking forward to spinning that up. That'll probably happen soon. I have another blue bat that I got last year at Fiber in the Burrow, I believe. Or the one that happens in Dixon, Tennessee. I don't know. Last year I bought a blue bat that I'll probably spin first. But that was my first stop for Fiber. It was my second purchase of the day. My third purchase was, we'll come back to that story. Let's move on to my final purchase. Was at Twist Fiber Studio, the lovely Ashley Carolina spinner. who has a podcast. Oh, Ashley, Twisted Stitcher. So at Twist Fiber Studio, I purchased this lovely skein of Montford fingering. It's a superwash merino nylon cashmere blend. And this is her Magic Mountain colorway. Her booth was so beautiful, and she had it set up in such a clever way. I need to honestly email her and tell her how fabulous it was. Give her some good feedback. But she had a beautiful booth. I almost bought a bag from her and then I didn't, because I bought this instead. I turned around from picking this out and she had some gorgeous fiber. This is Polworth Silk. It does not have a colorway on it. Ashley, if this has a colorway, could you please let me know? Colorway name. It looks like, when I was showing it off at my knitting group, they said it looked like copper that had patinaed. So it has that blue and green and then that coppery red, some white bits in it. It's just so pretty. Polworth Silk. I'm not 100% certain I would be able to long draw this. So it may not happen soon. Because I do a whole lot of, when I'm doing this kind of thing, I do short forward draw. And so even just holding my fingers together like that, I can feel that tendon. That may be a while before I get to that. Isn't that right, buddy? Finally, I went to Vala's Color Creations. Is that what she calls it? The color changing cotton lady. Yarn Creations. So I had previously these two skeins that had been marinating. The purple one's been marinating for years and years and years, and this one's only been marinating maybe a few years. So I had these two from her, and she had a lefty hanging up out of her yarn, this being the main color and then the leaves being a solid instead of the gradient. And it was beautiful. And so I bought this mint green solid and with making a lefty out of it in mind. And I'm not 100% certain I'm in love with the mint green with either of these. I need your opinion on it. I think it looks better with the purple, but I'm not sure I love it either way. Okay, now we're really upset. Alright, we had a diaper situation. And it dawned on me I had an FO that I had not shared with you. So, you know, pacifiers. Industry. But they make those little ribbons that you can attach to the pacifier and then clip onto their clothes so that pacifiers don't get lost. I thought, why spend $8 on one of those when I have a lot of yarn and safety pins? So here is Magic Passy. And I used my, bless you, I've used my I-cord maker, got some scrap out of my bin, made an I-cord that's what, maybe 5 inches long. It took some trial and error to figure out how long it needed to be. One end I made a loop, so as you can see it just feeds through the loop. Oops. Is how that works. So you take the little bit here, stick it in, there's my loop, it goes through it, and then on the other end I very securely sewed onto a safety pin on the side that doesn't open. And there we go. Passy holder. Let me stick this in his mouth. I did clean that passy off before I shoved it in his mouth. Nobody panic. Alright, so lefty. What else was I going to talk about? Okay, so I wanted to show you guys some cards of, I got Paralysis by Analysis in quite a few booths, which is why I didn't come out with as much yarn. There was a booth She will remain nameless. I told her I was not sure how much yarn I needed to buy for a sweater because my body's a little different right now, but I want to buy for the body I have now, not the body I want, right? It's what we do. And she said, "Oh, what's your baby's name?" I told her his name was Isaac, and she asked me why I gave him an old man name. That lost my business. I'm sorry. I was... Anyway. So one booth I visited was Pawley Studios. So she makes these gorgeous yarn bowls. She also makes adorable mugs. And let me tell you, they're awesome. I got a TARDIS mug from her, which is in the dishwasher. It has been used and loved. Pawley, Pawley Studios.com. You should go visit her website. She doesn't have anything for sale on the website, but she had a mug there that I wanted to purchase, but I got the TARDIS one instead, and I'm still thinking about the other one. I may email her and see if she'll sell it to me just online because I want it. I also visited Alisha Goes Around. She has a studio and a shop and a website there in Texas. Gorgeous, gorgeous yarns, guys. Gorgeous. Paralysis by Analysis in there. I wanted everything. I wanted a sweater's worth of everything. And then finally, Gerschubie Fiber Arts. They live in South Dakota, but she said that they are full-time RVers. And everything that she does is in the RV. And they just travel around in their RV selling her stuff. So, you should visit them, GERSCHUBIE.com. Visit their website too. Like I said, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful products. But I didn't want to buy, I walked in, I was like, okay, no fingering, no variegated. You have plenty of that. You need to get semi-solids. If it's a fingering, it's got to be semi-solid. DK and worsted, sure, whatever. And she had all fingering and all variegated, so I was good and walked away. Let's not talk about this variegated fingering that I bought from Ashley. Finally, I wanted to show you guys, back to being over-inspired. My, Interweave Knits does this to me. I decide I don't want to renew my subscription with them, and then because the magazines are nice, but I don't get overly inspired, just I've got to knit this right now. What happened this time? So, Interweave Knits. This is the Winter 2016. And I literally, when I got the magazine, and it came wrapped with my "this is your last issue" envelope. But I opened the magazine up to page 19 and saw this beautiful sweater that I want to knit in the worst way. I want to knit it. I want to wear it. It is the MacGowan, M-A-C-G-O-W-A-N Pullover by Quinna Lee. Page 42. And I'm thinking about, let's see, let me show you the, oh, I thought that was the back. Yeah, this is the back. It's just so pretty. So, I want to knit this out of handspun. He wants to make an appearance, don't you? Show people how good you are. He very rarely is fussy. I'm a very happy, lucky mama. But, I have a handspun sweater on the needles. I guess it's about lunchtime, isn't it? Yeah, it's about lunchtime. I have a handspun sweater on the needles, but it's DK. This calls for worsted. I'm going to do some swatching and see if I can make it work. There we go. Did you just want your mama? Say, I'm done looking at you. I want you to hold me, mama. that. And I guess that's the end of my knitting content. So if you are not interested in hearing anything else about anything else, thanks so much for coming. I appreciate you stopping by to listen to me ramble on about my projects. And I hope I'll see you next time. If you are interested to hang out, I have one of the most unexciting birth stories you will ever hear. I was due September 22nd. I had an appointment that day. I go to the doctor. My cervix never went beyond what it did the day the doctor told me I shouldn't go to End of the Wool. It was just like, yeah, I'm happy here. And it appears I was having contractions, but they were not strong enough that, or they were not intense enough that I was really feeling every one I was having. So I couldn't accurately measure how often these contractions were or whatever. So at 1 minute past midnight, now the morning of September 24, I checked into the hospital and we placed a medicine to help that along. And they put a contraction monitor on me and came back, and my contractions were every 2 or 3 minutes of fair intensity. I hadn't, and I didn't feel them. I don't know. Lucky. All I can say about this whole experience so far is that I have been one of the most lucky people in the world, let me tell you. Because she came in, my doctor came in and broke my water at 7:30 in the morning. He had already released his bowels, because really he should have already been born. My cervix just was rude. And so he had released his bowels. So that's okay. It's not bad. It just, if he doesn't clear all that out as soon as he's born, it can cause problems later. So we just had to set up to have the neonatologist present when he presented himself to the world. After she broke my water, I suddenly started feeling my contractions. And, yeah, you see, I can't even remember the exact timing. Somewhere around 10 o'clock. It went really fast. Somewhere around 10 o'clock, I was ready for my epidural. And I was lucky enough that my doctor's office had no preset, you have to get to this many centimeters before we'll do that for you. Their philosophy is, if it's uncomfortable, we're just going to go ahead and do it. And I consider myself to be pretty tolerant of pain. But there was definitely a point, my nurse walked in and she went, "I'm going to call the anesthesiologist." And I went, "Oh," she said, "your face is starting to change." She had only been with me since 7 o'clock and she could already tell that I was about to hit my breaking point. And it was good that she did when she did, because I hit my breaking point maybe 3 minutes before the anesthesiologist decided to show up in the room. Are you done with that? Okay. We'll get you a bottle here in a few minutes, okay? So, yeah, so after the epidural was placed, which, by the way, God's proof that He has forgiven us for the apple, ladies. If you can do an epidural, I don't know why you wouldn't. I hung out. Hung out with my mama. People came and visited me. My family came and visited me. And then it did start to be less effective right before it was time to start pushing. I got a little booster. I pushed for an hour. And out popped this beautiful, perfect baby boy. Perfect in every way. He was absolutely healthy and great. The most interesting thing, he had 2 knots in his umbilical cord. 1 knot is not common. 2 knots is extremely rare. And I told everybody, I was like, I told you he was a mover and a shaker. He's all over the place up in there. And I have proof now. But it's considered a very lucky sign. And it's even really lucky that the pregnancy lasted, because a lot of times even 1 knot in the cord can cause problems. So we were super lucky, weren't we, Isaac? Yes. Oh. Also, where am I going with this? Also. There is no also. He cleared everything out of his lungs the way he was supposed to. We're getting a big stretch. Stretch it out. He's been gaining weight the way he's supposed to. Yeah, whenever we go to the pediatrician, there's not much to talk about, except that at his 1 month appointment, oh, he's not been fussy at all. He gets gassy, but not colic level by any stretch. We've had no problems with him eating. He's gaining weight. And at his 1 month appointment, he's already tracking like a 2-month-old. And he rolled over 4 times, which isn't supposed to happen until 4 months. So he's just enjoying his time on this earth. But he's not right now because he's hungry. So I should probably go. But that's my story. I do want to say though, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to bring this up or not, but I think I should. When I got pregnant, I was not planning on being pregnant. I didn't particularly want to be pregnant. At no point in my life did I feel the call to be a mother. My husband and I had been not preventing for a while, and we had just decided that we were so extremely happy in our life, we didn't need to add anything else to it, and we were going to be one of those couples, one of those childless couples that just has lots of fun and enjoy each other for the rest of our lives. Well, that it was already too late after we made that decision. We just didn't know it yet. I was not particularly excited about being pregnant. At no point during my pregnancy did I get excited about being pregnant. And I had no reason to not be excited. I can financially support a child. I don't have any like health condition that would make me, dangerous to be pregnant. I have completed, the only thing I haven't done is I wanted to travel more. But everybody says you can do that with a baby, with a child, so, we'll see. But, oh, we're falling back to sleep. Maybe he just didn't like sitting up in his chair. But I felt very guilty about that. I wanted, though, if you are in that position, if you ever get pregnant and feel that way, it feels very lonely, and you feel like you can't talk to anyone about it. Just know that you are not alone, that is not an uncommon occurrence for women to feel that way when they get pregnant, okay? I want to put that out there for you. And then I thought it would be better after I was able to look at my baby and hold him, and we're still growing. We're still getting there. I have nothing but love for him, but I'm still very neutral to this whole being a mother business. So if you feel that way as well, you're not alone. Okay? I just wanted to say that. You're not alone. I needed people to tell me that. So here I am telling you. And he is a lot of fun. I don't like babies whatsoever. but mine is pretty cool. And I'm going to hold him up and let you see him a little closer, and then I'm going to go. I do want to say thank you so much for sticking around and listening to that little ramble. I hopefully it won't be as long before my next podcast, and all the ways you can get in touch with me will be on a slide at the end of the podcast. And here we go. Here's my little guy. Here he is. Say hey, Isaac. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
I just can't wait to finish. I got the kitten knitting blues. No, I just can't wait to finish. That's why I got those kitten knitting blues.